Here's the latest on that pipe bomb mailer story. The FBI is saying that 3 more devices were found in Delaware and New York today. 2 were addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden and a third to actor Robert De Niro in Lower Manhattan. Within the last 24 hours, other Democrats and Trump critics have received them as well, including 2 former presidents, a CNN contributor, and a mega liberal donor. As for the mail bombers' whereabouts, the search is now turning toward Florida, where they think these crude packages were sent from. That's pretty much what you need to know at this point. If you want more on this story, well, you can always turn to CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, where you're going to get 24 hours straight of nothing but this story, and 23 to 22 of those hours will mostly be spent on speculation and politics. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a very important story, and we are paying close attention to it as well. But we're paying attention to the facts of the story and trying to bring you the latest facts as we get them. And we will throughout the course of today and every day. See, the fact that you could be giving your kids cancer, we think that's more important, especially since there's a new report out that says that you could be giving your kid cancers without them even knowing about it. All right, this is why this story is so important. That there's a new report out that seems to say that there's something called a glyphosate. A glyphosate is a cancer-causing agent in breakfast cereals, like Cheerios, and about 30 other products. Have I got your attention? Where's it coming from? Monsanto's weed killer, Roundup. You see, world health experts are saying the levels are so dangerous. Monsanto is saying, no, they're not dangerous at all. Who's going to win this argument in the end regarding the safety of your children? Something I know you care a lot about. Well, let me share something with you now that you need to know that you probably are not going to get at other stations. Many of the stations, by the way, carry Monsanto's commercials. Side note. Between 1998 and 2014, Monsanto spent $84 million lobbying our elected officials. Of those $84 million, about 3/4 of it went to Republicans, the rest went to Democrats. All of this is legal, by the way. What about the people who are supposed to regulate Monsanto? Great question. Well, there is a crossover between Monsanto, right? An involvement, a relationship between Monsanto and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, that's EPA, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the European Food Safety Authority, and some United Nations food regulatory arms to boot. This crossover works in 4 ways. 1, lawmakers retire, and then they take a job working for Monsanto, kind of as a reward, right? And they then provide them access to other lawmakers who haven't retired, their buddies. 2, legislators become lobbyists for Monsanto. 3, regulators who are underpaid to begin with, let's say they work for the EPA and they make $75,000 a year. Monsanto comes along and says, work for us. We'll give you $175,000 a year raise. And 4, Monsanto employees actually go to work for the regulatory agencies that are supposed to police them. So essentially, now they're policing themselves. What chance do you as a mom or a dad or a grandma or grandpa have against those odds? Not much, right? But we will not stop fighting to tell you the truth about this particular story. This is RT America. Okay, let's start with the breakfast cereal. This is the story that we've been sharing with you. What is going on with the breakfast cereal that you may be feeding your children or yourself? Compliments of a product made by Monsanto. The chemical is called glyphosate. Now, glyphosate is the key ingredient in Roundup, which is what is used to kill weeds. The products tested, including 10 samples of different types of General Mills Cheerios and 18 samples of different Quaker brand products. These are products that you know very well. You've probably eaten them from time to time. Instant oatmeal, had that. Breakfast cereals, had those. And those little snack bars as well. Okay, Roundup surged in the 1990s, becoming the main weed-killing product in the United States. Monsanto promoted it until it was just about everywhere. And you've seen it in fields, you've seen it in your backyards, and certainly in farms as well. Here's the problem. Glyphosate is a major carcinogen, proven in court most recently by a groundskeeper. The guy's name is Dwayne Johnson. Have you heard of him? Well, he used the product for years at a school in Northern California. He came down with lymphoma, and in his lawsuit against Monsanto, the court found the company was culpable in that gentleman's case right there. And now the very latest scandal involves what is also happening in Monsanto in Europe. That's right. The company is facing accusations that it spent tens of thousands of euros to get farmers in Europe to lobby against the ban on one of their own pesticides, like recruiting them or paying them to be on their side. I want to introduce you now to Alexis Baden Meyer. She is the Political Director, Organic Consumers Association. Thank you so much for being with us on this very important day.
Thank you, Rick.
This is a very important story, and I can't help but ask you and ask myself in the process whether parents, people like us, are really in a mismatch here with a company as powerful as Monsanto.
Well, yes, we want to avoid Monsanto, but most people don't know how. The best way, the easiest way, is to eat organic. And everyone says, but organic food is so much more expensive. Well, chemotherapy is very expensive. And think of you're setting up your child's health for their entire life. What could be more precious? So I know that times are tough.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who just don't have the money to buy food in general, let alone to choose what they eat at the grocery store. But if you have that luxury, take advantage of it.
Well, what about the people who say something else? They say, you know what? Monsanto is saying those levels are really minuscule, and I'm going to believe Monsanto.
Well, you do so at your peril, and unfortunately, most news media outlets aren't covering this in depth. And every week, new scientific journal articles come out that show that in the levels that the EPA says are safe, you can still show cancer in a lab study. Genotoxicity is proved in a lab study at these legal doses.
So, okay, that's interesting what you just said. Most in the news media don't do what we did today.
Right.
We literally, as you said to me, and thank you for the kind words, you said you broke the whole thing down so people can understand it. That's what we try to do here at RT America, because we think that that's very important. But why doesn't that message get out? What is Monsanto doing to quash it, if they are?
Well, there's no public science done on this issue. When the EPA and even the European regulators want to find out whether something like glyphosate causes cancer, they ask the corporations to do the science. And then it's reviewed by the regulators.
Well, of course, you know what they're going to find, right?
Right, and so they've been suppressing the science. We've known since the 1980s that glyphosate causes cancer. The EPA was ready to list it as a possible human carcinogen based on Monsanto's own studies that showed tumors in rats. And Monsanto, at that point, started a never-ending lobbying campaign that's still preventing the truth from coming out.
Keep up the good work. Alexis Baden Meyer, thanks so much for being with us, and thanks for taking time to share your wisdom with us.
Thanks, Rick.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.